I wonder if you've been through the experience of having had quite a bit of challenge these days managing your relationship. Many couples are finding that these times are very challenging to navigate indeed. The COVID 19 virus, along with being quarantined at home, brings with it a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension, and a lot of things for couples to work out. Many couples are finding they have more time together at home than perhaps they ever have, day after day, and not able to get out and see friends or be with people like they used to be, or even go somewhere in order to find a very healthy distraction. So, all of that takes a toll on us, and it's quite normal for those in long term relationships to find themselves at odds with one another over very small things sometimes. A couple of weeks ago, my wife and I, who usually get along great, found ourselves at odds over the way I was folding the towels. She actually became very upset with me, and I had to stop and learn how to fold towels again, even though I've been doing it for quite some time. I wanted to do it her way. And little things like that can happen to almost any couple during these days because of the unusual tensions that we're all under during these times of pandemic. Hello, my name is King Counts, and I'm a marriage and family therapist with the Cohen Military Family Clinic at Centerstone in Clarksville, Tennessee. I've been helping couples with relationships for over 30 years, and I've seen a lot of different times when couples were especially challenged. But I really do believe that the times we're living in right now really do represent one of the most challenging times for couples to fully be able to enjoy a happy, stable, balanced relationship like no other. And so I want to offer you a little bit of a perspective on some things you can do to help to manage these times so that your relationship can not only get through this time and your relationship stays intact, but even more that you can actually learn to support each other and learn to be happy even in these trying times. So, anger is a natural response. It is an emotion that we all experience, and it has a valid place and a valid role to play in all of our lives. So, it's not about eradicating anger, it's just controlling anger that we need to do. Anger is a response that is a natural instinct rooted in how to survive in a world that's dangerous and not often safe, as we know from these times that we're in right now. So, the fight flight response is something that no one has to teach another human being. It's almost as if we're born already understanding that one way to survive is to fight. And so when we find ourselves anxious, upset, stressed, challenged by a lot of different things in our life, maybe things that really don't have anything directly to do with our relationship, many times anger can flare up unexpectedly in a couple's relationship. Small things look very big in the moment, and in those times, lashing out at each other is a way to release some of the tension as well as to survive. So, what can you do about it? What can a couple effectively do to manage the anger? Perhaps the anger has become a real issue in your relationship, and you're finding many times when you just aren't able to see eye to eye. Many times when people snap and they lose their temper, and then later maybe looking at it and saying, well, I didn't really have to respond like that. What can you do about that? Let me propose a very simple strategy that takes some work. I'll be honest with you, there's no magic wand here, there's no easy solution for some of these things. One of the most effective things to do is to sit down with your spouse or your partner and talk about the desire to do better with managing anger within the relationship. It's really good for some calm, rational, level headed kind of understanding communication to take place on a very kind of simplistic basis where you're not getting too complex. Then try to find an agreement together about what to do when the anger begins to flare. Usually, one of the best things to do is to take a short break when anger begins to erupt. So, as soon as you both, either one of you, begins to see that anger is getting the best of you, someone call for a break, a timeout. Couples oftentimes give a name, a unique name to their timeout, so that it's like a code word or a cue word that the other one recognizes immediately. We're in the spin cycle, or we need to avoid the vortex, or the volcano is about to erupt. Any kind of phrase or word can be a cue word that says, let's take a time out, let's take a break. And so when a couple makes an agreement like that, either one of them can call for that time out. And if they take that time to go apart for a little while and just relax and get your mind off of whatever the issue was that you were fighting about. During that time, you're just focusing on trying to relax. Distraction is a great way to do that. There usually is something you can get your mind into for a short time. Then, when both people are ready, the next step is to come back together again and talk calmly about what the issue is. So, talking calmly is like, slowing down the process a lot, trying to be reasonable, trying to watch the tone of your voice, trying to listen a lot more than you maybe were before, and that's what got you into trouble. So, also realize that when you do talk about the issue, realize that you may not be able to resolve it with just one conversation. Sometimes there are lots of issues that can't be resolved in a single conversation. It may take more than one conversation for you to reach some kind of understanding together. Try to find an area that you can compromise on. Try to look for what you do agree on already. Find agreement in some part of it and use that to find a solution to the issue. It takes lots of work to make a relationship work, but is well worth it. Take your time, talk together, be patient with one another, learn to take a longer view of things, and you can find a way to move forward. I sure hope this has been helpful for you. We want to be as much help to you as we possibly can be. And it's good that you're taking some time to think things through and see if there's not a better solution than just to have a time when you're angry at each other, and the anger just can be so destructive. So learn to take breaks, learn to look for compromise, learn to find what you do agree about and use it to find a solution. And you can learn to have less and less anger in your relationship.